Hey friends, over 60% of you are listening to me right now on an Apple product. iPhone, iPad, iTunes. I need your help. The truth is, Apple will make this podcast more discoverable to new listeners the more reviews it has. So I'm here asking you to take a moment and leave a review. If you've gained any value from this podcast, the greatest thing you can do for it, besides spreading the word and telling friends, is leaving a review. It's real simple. If you're on your phone, head over to my podcast page within the Apple Podcast app and leave a review. Or if you're on a computer, you can head over to my podcast page within the iTunes app. That's it. That's all I ask. And if you have other podcasts that you love, do them a favor and do the same for them. It'll make their day. Now let's get this podcast started already.
So I've got to tell you that I have to set this up, I feel like every time for people on the podcast, it's like so often when I talk to somebody, we've never met, we've never talked.
Yep.
And I like it that way because I feel like it's very unique. And I think you, like you said a few minutes ago, organic.
Yes.
However, today it's a little bit different. We had what I would kind of call like a very interesting, like chance meeting. It was just like a random thing.
Yes.
How do you remember that going down to put you on the spot?
Oh, gosh. Let's see. So we were at a wonderful concert for Chris Lane.
This is true.
Yes. And I believe it was Philip Michael Parsons was opening.
Yes.
And so let me just add a tidbit. He's actually reached out to me.
Has he really?
He has.
Okay.
So for those listening, he is an up-and-coming country musician himself.
Yes.
And so I was able to share a lot of the media, like the video clips and stuff that I took from the concert, and I put them on Instagram. And
You got to plug your Instagram real quick because I feel like people are going to hit you up.
Oh, yeah. So my Instagram is Julie, Julie, Robyn, ROBYN,
Okay. There you go.
And you will see that my default picture is literally the pop version of me, like the pop figurine version of me.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's like a little avatar. So you'll find me. But I posted, all the stuff from the concert, and his person, I don't know exactly.
Probably has like a social media guy.
Yeah, or like a manager, something like
Sure.
that. And she reached out to me. She was like, can we actually ask you for the property of it, like to distribute the videos and stuff on our own Instagram? And
Nice.
And I was like, sure. And so she was like, in return, we can set you up with like free meet and greets and swag and stuff. I was like,
Nice.
well, I've got people, that would probably love to tag along.
Yeah.
So sure, why not?
Definitely.
So hopefully that will happen in the future. But yes, after digressing, we did meet at the Chris Lane concert, and it just happened that we were sitting in a really awesome spot where it wasn't too crowded. We were able to kind of get to know each other, and you were able to share your history of being a fan of country music and where, that love for it has taken you. And
Yes.
you talked about your passion for weight loss and motivating others on Instagram. And I was able to kind of jump in and talk about my own stories of.
I feel like my cousin, bless her heart, she was
awesome.
amazing.
She was awesome.
She's like, my cousin here is on Instagram. You should check him out. I'm like, I don't normally do this whenever I meet people.
Great marketer for
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
She's great.
I need to let her know if she's
Yeah.
listening. Lisa, I love you.
You were awesome. Thank you for not falling over the balcony though, trying to reach for Chris Lane every time.
And Corey.
And Corey.
Boy, she wanted both of them.
Oh my gosh. And I was so close to meeting Corey. I was so sad. Corey, if you ever listen to this.
Oh, that
Man,
was an amazing show. I could not believe, though. I was literally blown away because we had a discussion, and we, like you said, we were sharing our own stories, and I felt like it was just like it was one of these real connections that I really like when I meet new people, and that is, because I've always kind of been like an introvert, really. It may surprise you now.
I mean, you seem very open and
Now I am.
person-centered and, willing to engage.
It's
so.
changed a lot, and with you dealing with mental health, maybe you'll pick apart some things here, but
Maybe.
Really, always growing up, I was always like, very introverted. And so when I meet somebody like at a concert or wherever, it's always interesting to me when you make like a real connection. It's like, okay, you know, like a lot of the same music, there's a lot of conversation there. And then it's like, oh, by the way, you know, I deal working with mental health. And I'm like, okay, this light bulb goes off in my head, because I'm like, on this podcast, it talks a lot about weight loss, talks a lot about my life, and I've got a lot of history myself of mental health, but also in the bigger picture, I talk about on this podcast how important mental health is when it comes to a weight loss journey.
Oh, absolutely. It should be one of the
It's like number one, I think.
pillars,
Yeah.
you know, in a journey to weight loss, and just coming to terms with, you know, having to lose weight, or understanding, okay, I do have a problem with my weight. You know,
Yes.
it all plays a part in it, and I think we forget that one of the main organs in our body is our brain, and
Yes.
how it controls everything, including weight.
No,
you
you're
know?
right.
Yes, all the chemicals that run through our body, you know, come from, you know, the jump start of the brain, and so everything from metabolism to, you know, I'm not a medical doctor, so please, any
Neither am I.
med students out there, or doctors, please forgive me if I'm not being very medical jargon good.
Yes.
I'm not trying to impersonate you, but, you know, everything's connected. So, and we
Yeah.
forget that. And so just to let the listeners know, I am a mental health professional. I'm a mental health counselor. I work in the community within the school settings, but also like in the in-home setting, working mainly with crisis intervention. So I see a lot of suicide and homicide risk, self-harm.
Yeah.
And so I am a resident in counseling with the Board of Virginia, so I'm not licensed yet. So anything that I talk about, please do not see it as
Right.
any kind of official expertise, advice, or, you know, medical opinion.
There's a disclaimer, folks.
That is my disclaimer. So please do not sue me. I admit I sometimes really, truly don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Go see a professional.
Absolutely, of course. But in your experience, you've seen a lot of
Yes, I
things, and that
have.
helps you formulate your own opinion and viewpoints.
Yes. So I work with a lot of kids. And
Yes.
so, and unfortunately, I work with, in this area, I work with a lot of kids that come from very low economic statuses, and just a lot of poverty. And so they don't have connections to a lot of resources, not just to mental health, but to just nutritional needs,
Yeah.
to psychoeducation and nutritional education in general. So they're not getting what's best for their bodies, mind, body, and soul.
Sure.
And so I see a lot of childhood obesity. I see a lot of their parents. When I come into contact with their parents, you can see, well, the parents are also struggling with weight conditions. And the children are as well. So it's kind of a family issue at that
Yeah.
point. And I have kids that I work with that see bullying on a daily basis, a lot of body shaming, especially in these days. One popular thing is roasting.
Roasting,
Roasting is really big amongst the youth. And so weight happens to be one of the biggest targets. Anyone that doesn't look like someone on TV is going to be victim, most likely, to the weight roasting.
You would think now more than ever in this day and age that we would be beyond that, but it's probably more so now more than ever, I would think, right?
You know what? I think we are kind of at the peak of the bullying. Yes, I think as a community and as a society, we have gotten better about, you know, understanding and bringing awareness to all forms of bullying, but especially body shaming.
Sure.
And I know there are a lot of people out there just trying to break down those walls of stigma and say, you know, every size is beautiful, every size is important. We're not all made the same way, and that's okay.
Definitely.
But we're still having a lot of backlash, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah.
Yeah. So I have kids in the school where, you know, the reason I'm working with them is because they have really bad anger issues and self-harm issues, and they have explosive tendencies where they just kind of go off on teachers, they go off on kids, and they seem like they're these problematic kids, like they don't really fit into society. Whereas when you start talking to them, you figure, oh, I've been victim of being bullied since I was probably in first grade. Okay,
Yeah.
well, what are some of the things that they're bullying you for? Oh, well, they call me French fries, and
Yeah.
they call me, Patrick from SpongeBob
Yeah,
because
right,
I'm
right,
big
right.
and tubby,
Yeah.
and then you start to realize, okay, there's a really deep core to what's going on. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you're a bigger kid. Okay, we get that, and that's what they go after. And so, I'm noticing a lot of really low self-esteem issues
Sure.
due to body shaming and just weight issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I dealt with that so often as a kid. I think I've talked about it a little bit on the podcast. I probably haven't centered on it enough, and I feel like maybe it could help some people, although generally most of my audience is adults, so they're long beyond the child area. But I know from probably, as far as I can remember, I want to say second, third grade, I was always getting picked on, and at that time I was, I was always more on the chubby side, and I was I was actually in special education. I've not talked about this very frequently. I was diagnosed with like ADHD by like fourth grade, fifth grade, somewhere in there. And yeah, I mean, I was in that kind of world from all the way from third grade all the way till the time I graduated. And I dealt with this this would have been like 9, almost 10 years of just constantly being picked on, even in high school. And I'm just like, man, are we still on this? You would like to think as we grow up, we eventually grow up, and it just doesn't happen, apparently. And one of the things that you said that I really liked, it should really be a pillar, mental health. And I have 4 pillars. I don't know if we talked about this a couple weeks ago. So I have 4 pillars when it comes to being what I define as successful. And that's not just weight loss, by the way. This is life. And that's patience, consistency, hard work, and love yourself. And I like to file that mental health category in the love yourself portion.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't love yourself, Julie, it's game over. And you really need, I try to always say that one pillar is not more important than the others, but I do say that you need all 4 of these pillars in order to move forward. If you're missing even one of them, I feel like you're screwed, personally. I don't know, what's your thought on that?
No, I truly agree with you on mental health should be kind of categorized under the love yourself part in your 4 pillar system.
We're beating ourselves up so much for craziness,
We are. And at the end of the day, I always tell my clients, you got to take baby steps. You're not going to...
Patience.
Yes.
See, they all work together, Julie.
Yes. And you, at the end of the day, you have to be happy with what you've done that day.
Yes.
It's so easy, and especially in weight loss and in my own struggles with weight loss and being bullied as
Really?
a child. Oh yeah. I was.
How long did you deal with that, if you don't mind me asking?
So I started dealing with bullying regarding my body, and I guess weight would factor into that. I would say as early as 9, 10 years old. And
Okay.
what's really bad is I wasn't overweight.
Really?
I wasn't even overweight. I was actually probably a little underweight.
Okay. People thought you were too small then.
Well, for whatever reason, they still call me fat. And the reason I think they call me fat is because I was really tall.
Okay,
I was really tall for
You're not
for
as
my
short
grade.
as other girls,
Yeah,
okay.
and I was just one of those girls. I matured a little bit faster than most girls
Okay,
do, so
I
my body
gotcha.
looked a little different.
Right.
Whereas most girls were still very small and petite.
Sure.
I had a lot of curvature, and so I very much felt like an ugly duckling. Even though, in fact, I was not fat at all. And so grew up with this stigma that I was fat.
Yeah.
And would, even throughout middle school and high school, I'd skip lunches, doing very unhealthy things that I thought were healthy.
Like starving yourself, something like that? Is that the route you were going?
I mean, not starving myself for like days on end, but
Right.
definitely skipping meals.
Yeah.
And
Because
and,
people had a perception, and you
Yeah.
thought maybe that perception
yeah,
was
eating
reality.
in front of others, just wasn't comfortable doing that. I even had some times where, a little bit of struggling with some bulimia episodes
Okay.
where, I would binge and then purge,
Sure.
purge. That was more so in high school.
Yeah.
When I got into high school, I started learning about diet pills
Yeah.
and,
Oh,
and
yeah.
how there's tons and tons of caffeine in them. That's basically what is kind of like pumping your metabolism.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how they're they work. For the most part, and so going to the store and being able to buy diet pills.
They were easily accessible.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I guess they still are, but yeah.
Absolutely. And then even just caffeine pills, like
Yeah.
NoDoz. You connect, oh, well, caffeine obviously is
Yeah.
what's making me really hyper. And when I
Yeah.
drink coffee or go to Starbucks or something,
Sure.
in the morning before school, I notice that I'm not so hungry.
Yeah.
So just doing that, really unhealthy. Like
Sure.
just taking
Yeah.
caffeine pills without my dad knowing and then, forcing myself to go to the gym and just really unrealistic goals for myself at the gym.
Yeah.
So like I am going to burn like a whole day's worth of calories
Yeah.
within an hour.
Yeah.
Like I'm not getting off this elliptical until I have burnt everything that I ate today.
Right. Because
And-
that's
and-
what people tell you have to do.
Exactly. And so and then just going home and then the next day I'm way too sore. I can't even get out of bed. It's not your typical soreness from
Yeah.
beginning working out.
Sure,
like it's
sure.
like I can't move. It's,
Yeah.
it's almost paralysis at
You
this
went
point.
hard that
I
previous
went
night.
hard. I pushed myself way too hard, and I even talked to my doctor. At one of my physicals, I was probably like 15,
Yeah.
and she was just like, "Do you have any concerns about your health or anything right now?" And I said, "No, but I really feel like I need to lose weight." And she gave me the craziest look. She's like, "Why do you feel you need to lose weight?" And I told her, I was like, "Well, I just look big around
Yeah.
other people." And she was like, "I don't want you to lose weight. If you lose weight, like even losing 5 pounds probably wouldn't be very healthy for you."
Sure.
And so, I just grew up with this mentality. I was always so fat. And so I was so hard on myself. And then, going into college, I hit the college, freshman 15.
Yeah.
The freshman 15 for me was like the freshman 50 because I just kind of got into a mindset where I was like, well, I'm just never going to be the size that I want. So why not just pig out? Like, I'm just not going to care. And then I got into this vicious cycle of, I found myself getting into, here comes the mental health part, the depression. The
Of
depression from the low self-esteem, constantly beating myself up from all those years of just hearing whispering and, oh my gosh, she looks so much different than us. Like, she's kind of, like, maybe she's fatter than us,
Yeah.
So the depression kicks in and that self-loathing. So, a lot of symptoms with depression include not just sadness, but lack of energies,
Oh, yeah.
lack of motivation.
Yes.
And then sleep issues, and then also appetite issues. A lot of
Oh, yeah.
people will lose a lot of weight when they're depressed. A lot of people will gain a lot of weight. It all depends on, just how your body wants to
Oh, yeah.
adapt to being depressed.
Yeah.
So mine was, well, I'm going to eat myself happy. And then, of course, you continue that. And then you keep looking in the mirror, seeing you're getting bigger, nothing
Yeah.
fits anymore. You're definitely looking different than the people around you.
Sure.
Noticing that, I had one chin, now I have two. So I've been there. And then you just continue to bury into this depression. Those symptoms just increase and they are more consistent, where it is just an overall vicious cycle of being depressed, eating, thinking that's going to fix it and make you happy again, looking in the mirror, seeing that nothing has changed, and that it's just like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
all the
over
time.
and over and over. How long did this go on? Would you say?
You know what? To be honest, I think it's still going on to some point.
Really?
I think it's still going on to some point.
Well, I think that's great that that
Yeah.
there's something there. I mean, it's got to
Yeah.
help a lot.
I think that a light bulb started to trigger probably like 2012. I was
Okay.
just like, I'm done. I am so done. You
Yeah.
know, I'm realizing that my social life is not thriving as I would want it to
Sure,
be, like my
sure.
other friends. Instead, I would rather stay home. My depression was really bad. My anxiety was really bad. All these things can trigger binge eating. And finally, I just noticed on a Friday night, instead of being with friends, going out, doing social activities, I'm sitting here literally finishing an extra large pizza
Yeah.
by myself.
I know those nights.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And so
You said
I was-
throw down.
I mean, yeah, I can totally do that. And I'll be honest, there have been times like within this year that I've probably done that just because still in that. And I'm just now starting to kind of wake up
Sure.
and realize, okay, I'm going to kill myself. Literally
Of
going
course.
to kill myself doing
Yeah.
this.
I nearly did.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be a point when, you know, I go to the doctor and they start saying, you know, now it's starting to show up in your blood work. Your vitamin, you have vitamin deficiencies. You're close to being diabetic. You know, it's going to start presenting itself if it already hasn't. And unfortunately, it already has. I'm not diabetic, thank God, or anything
Yeah.
like that. But I've got vitamin deficiencies, things
Right.
that I didn't have, you know, years ago.
Right.
So being 30, it's starting to take a toll on my body.
No,
Yeah,
I can
all this weight.
understand that. What think about it. Let's just take one night example. Let's just say it's a night that you're going to take one of these pizzas, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it about the day that sets you up to put you in this mindset to want to do this? I mean, is it just a bad day, a course of events, like from the week? Like, if you had to think back on one of the most recent examples, in other words, that you could think of, what sets the table for that? I'm curious.
So I would say part of it is coming home from work, just having a really exhausting day. You know, maybe
Sure.
I've had a lot of really challenging clients that day.
Sure.
And they always say, don't take that home with you. Well, that's kind of impossible. Yeah,
Yeah.
you try not to take that stuff home with you, the things you hear and that you work through and their own traumas and experiences, but you do take it home. And
You're
so
very
that,
invested in it.
Yes,
Yeah.
probably more than I should be.
Yeah.
So you know, that comes home with me. And so I kind of get into a mode where I don't want to do anything. I literally just want to be at home and I want to self-medicate.
Sure.
Because I feel like crap.
Right.
I feel like crap having all this emotional burden on me, probably physical burden too,
Sure.
because I mean, like I said, being 30 and weighing about 265 now and I'm 5'5", it's taking its toll. Like it's pretty hard. So coming home, I just have no motivation, no
Sure.
energy. And so I want to self-medicate, and my form of self-medicating is through eating.
Yeah.
So that's my brain automatically going to, we know what works.
Yeah.
It's not alcohol, it's not drugs, it's food.
Yes.
Food is our medication on how we work. And so
And pizza is a hell of an example, by the way.
man,
Right?
like when that Domino's guy just shows up,
Yeah.
it's like love at first sight.
Yeah.
It is. Like, come on, we got to be honest. We've
No,
all
we
had that
do,
moment.
yes.
Like, I know there's a meme going around. Like, I wish I could find somebody who makes my heart skip a beat as much as the waiter does when he's bringing me my food. Like, come on,
Yeah.
it's true, and. We forget that we can get addicted to food. We can get addicted to
Yes.
alcohol. We can get
Yes.
addicted to drugs. You can get addicted to anything. You can get addicted to sex or gambling, whatever.
Anything, yeah.
You can get addicted to food. Your brain becomes accustomed to it. It changes the chemicals in your brain to
I
where
still
it's like,
battle it.
yeah, absolutely.
I've lost 100 pounds and I still battle it.
I mean, yeah,
That's real.
And so it just becomes kind of conditioned in your brain
Yeah.
that yes, our go-to is food. That is our drug of choice. And so for me, that is. So not only do I have what I would probably call like a food addiction,
Yeah.
because I wake up in the morning, the first thing on my mind is food. When I come home from work, the first thing on my mind is food. Like I literally go through periods of the day thinking about food.
Do you ever go to the thing where you wake up on like a weekend and plan your day around where you're going to go eat? I used to like lay in
Yes.
bed with Yelp on my phone and like, kind of craving like steak and cheese today or like, you know, and
Yes.
just like Just scrolling through the
Oh my
phone and trying to
gosh.
see what's out there.
Yeah. So like even recently, I'd say within the past couple months, like waking up on a Saturday, I know I have nothing to do.
Yeah.
Payday was the day before, so I
Oh,
got a little
yeah.
bit of money in the bank. So how
Hell
am I going to
yes.
spend it? So waking up and going, I got to eat. Where's my food? Where's my jam? So thinking, oh, well, this is a great opportunity for me to get out and about. I'll go to the local shopping center. I'll get my Starbucks. And then I am going to chow down at Moe's, Southwest Grill, or Chipotle. Mexican
Chipotle.
food is my devil of choice. So,
Have you ever been to El Paso here on Richmond Highway?
yes.
They're amazing.
Yes.
They're
so,
amazing. Sorry, I didn't
Oh,
include
no.
that there.
I mean, come on.
And by the way, a cheap plug. You mentioned payday. Paydays are amazing days, and if you maybe you are you have a few extra bucks left over, you might want to head over to hardworkalwayswins.com
Yes.
and enter the code SQUAD at checkout to take 10% off your order and get you some threads, folks.
I'm going to have to check it out, especially for the holiday season.
This is the time, Julie.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, this is the time. We got hoodies, we got tank tops, we got shirts, we got hats, we got beanies, we got phone cases. We got it all.
And
Hardworkalwayswins.com.
I'm assuming you have stuff that would be really good workout gear,
Certainly.
like the tank tops
tank
and
tops,
t-shirts.
yes. They're
Heck
some of
yeah.
our biggest sellers.
Heck yeah. So,
I had to
I mean-
insert that cheap plug there.
no, but hey, I have one of your hoodies that you so graciously gave to me at the concert. Just, it's literally one of those moments, taking the shirt off your back kind of thing and giving
Yes.
it to somebody. And I would say
Well,
maybe I was emotionally in need, and you were sharing something with me.
We had a pretty I would say like a fired up kind of conversation, and this is what it goes back to, like just out of the blue meeting somebody new, having just an intense conversation, and I was just like, you know what, everything you were telling me, and some of that is what we've talked about here, and we can continue to talk about it, but I was just like, you know what, if I were to give you this jacket, I was just hoping that you wouldn't forget the conversation.
Oh, I didn't.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, I hope that the words that I am saying make sense to somebody other than me, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
And they did make sense.
Okay.
And that gesture, it stuck with me. It absolutely stuck with me. Like, I was literally wearing the hoodie just yesterday, like just chilling around my house. Like,
Nice.
I love it. And so, just another quick plug, like the material used and the quality of the clothing, it actually is really truly amazing. It's worth every dime. So
That was actually a Champion hoodie, by the way.
Yeah.
Champion is hot right now.
Yeah, and so I'm just saying, like, he graciously gave me as a freebie. I mean, I got some free swag from him. His hoodie. I mean, it looks great. I've received compliments on it.
Oh, well, thank you.
I
Yes.
have. And so I've been able to pass along the word of where I've gotten from. So hopefully you'll get a few people checking.
I do
you out.
appreciate that. That is the same hoodie
Yeah.
that you folks have seen on the website that
Yes.
I'm pictured in.
Yes.
That is the one and only. That was the one of one.
Oh my gosh.
prototype.
I'm so honored.
That was
I'm
the
so honored.
prototype of the Champion. That was the first. That was the first one.
Oh, well, I love it. It's one of my favorite hoodies now. It's covered in dog fur because my dogs love it too.
Yeah.
Just like snuggling up next to me. It's just great quality.
Well, lucky-
It's not a cheapo.
Lucky for you, I just washed it the night before. Otherwise, my dog's hair would have been on it.
Yeah.
By
I
the
live
way.
with 5 animals, so I can't say the same. But you know what? It's great quality. So my cat likes to snuggle on it. So it's a big hit all throughout the house.
Now, what better advertisement could I possibly give you, the great listeners of the Gary Cantrell podcast, than Julie right here with quite the testimonial?
I do love that hoodie. That
Yeah.
hoodie goes with me to work. I wear it at work. And
That is so awesome
yeah,
to hear.
so it follows me. I'm a big fan of hoodies. So when you gave me that, I was like, score.
Well, you gotta
And, yeah, just the motto on it.
You gotta take a picture, and we'll post it on the Hard Work Always Wins
Yes, sir.
Instagram account.
I will
and
do
Plug
that.
it out there.
I will do that.
Excellent.
Yes.
Now see, this is the point where it's a little difficult to get back into the. We were having.
I know.
Yeah, but sometimes
digress
you got to
a
break the
lot.
seriousness up just a little bit. You got to bring a little bit of humor. I always try to find the
Yeah.
positive in everything, which is
Yeah.
quite the opposite of the person
You
that I
have to
was
be realistic.
3 to 4 years ago. I was negative all
Yeah.
day long,
Yeah.
every day, all day.
Yeah, one thing I really like that you bring up finding the humor in all situations because
Yes.
there's a lot of crap in this world.
Yeah.
None of us are living too much under a rock to where we are not seeing it, whether it's political or social media or
Yeah.
just whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of negative.
Too much.
It is too much. And so going back to something like weight loss, it sucks. Being overweight and for whatever reason, whether it's a genetic issue where
Right.
a metabolic issue, connected to like hypothyroidism, something like that, or polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yeah.
I know that weight management can be a really hard struggle with that. Or if you've just gotten on a really bad path,
Yeah.
like for me, I don't have any specific medical condition for me being overweight. It's just, I will admit, it's bad choice after bad choice after bad choice because,
It starts with you.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
person that you look in the mirror every day as your greatest enemy.
Yeah.
It's not your mom, it's not your dad, it's not your best
Exactly.
friend, it's not your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whoever. It's none of these people. It's you. It starts right here. And what I try to tell people, and the same thing that I told you the first night that we met, there is that light up ahead.
Yes.
Whether you see it now or not, and
It's there.
Maybe picture this, listeners. Maybe you're in a dark place right now. You're in a 4 walls room with all the lights are off and you can't see the light, and you're just thinking to yourself that there is no way out. It's quite the opposite, because once you realize that the greatest obstacle in front of you is not your personal ability, it's not your parents, it's not your spouse, it's not your teacher, it's no one. Your greatest obstacle is you. And when you have that realization and you decide to take pause and formulate a plan and execute on that plan and stick to that plan, it's where the patience, the consistency, the hard work, and the love of yourself come in. When you figure out all that, and it doesn't come overnight, by the way. You may not be ready now. I might have 50 people that are listening that are not ready right now, but they're listening because they're searching for the answer. And unfortunately, a thing of social media is we go so far out there to look for the answer that we buy the diet pills and we listen to all the
Yes.
the people that are trying to prey on our insecurities, getting us to buy products that we
Easy
don't
fixes,
need.
the
Easy
scams.
fixes, quick fixes. Quite frankly, you may be in a dark place right now, but when you realize that the greatest obstacle is the person that you looking back at you in the mirror, from that point forward, it's all downhill in the good way. It's just, it's easy. It's cake from there mentally, because then you realize, okay, this is now what I need to do. You start making that plan and you start executing. And from there, sky's the limit.
Exactly.
You can move mountains. You can do anything you want.
Yes.
And that is the bottom line. Not because Stone Cold said so, I'm a wrestling fan, but because that is just the truth.
It is.
Quite frankly.
It is. And I love how you brought up a big emphasis on there might be listeners right now who are not ready.
Yes.
But the fact that they are listening means something. So
They're
I
looking
can-
for the answers, I think.
yes, I cannot tell you how many times that's extremely connected. Are you okay there?
I am
Are
okay.
you
My
getting
cable got tangled up. I don't like wireless because there's too much interference.
Right.
Old school cabling.
We're okay now, everybody. So,
Yes.
but I really like how you brought those things up, because every day talking to, whether it's a 5-year-old client all the way up to, I've had 68-year-old clients.
Yeah.
Insight is a huge factor. And so I always tell people, even if just give me a mustard seed worth of insight. That means, and when I say a mustard seed worth of insight, I'm talking about, like, you just have to have some kind of passing thought that something's not right. Something needs to be changed. Something I'm doing or that I'm going through is not okay. So but it's okay to say, I don't know how to fix it. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what that means. That's okay. And so I always tell my clients, like, you just being here, like sitting in this chair, meeting with me, that means the world.
Yeah.
And so I use that a lot in my own mental health practices, talking about insight and the fact, okay, so you're not ready to go to the gym, or you're not ready to actually look at. I don't really like the word diet because
Yeah.
it has "die" in it.
Yeah.
I always like the term lifestyle change.
Sure. Yeah, that
Life
sounds
in it.
better.
I know that sounds really corny.
No, that's
especially
awesome.
someone who I will admit, like I still struggle with finding the right healthy lifestyle change that I need. You know, is maybe you're not ready to take on a lifestyle change like that yet. The fact that you are listening to this podcast or
Yes.
looking at your Instagram, reading motivational
Yeah.
sayings, and just exploring that world of I don't have to be this size. I don't have to have these health problems. I don't have to have this weight stigma.
Right.
I don't. The fact of you just even having like the most tiny fleeting thought of that, there is hope.
Yeah.
There is so much hope. If you are having thoughts like that, or just, I'm serious, like the most microscopic inkling of that, there is absolute 120,000% hope that you can, change, whether it's mental health, whether it's weight, whatever.
That's why
yes.
that's why I can look you right in your face and tell you that you are a winner. That's why I
Yes.
know that you are doing amazing things. You will do amazing things because of your outlook. That's that's what you have the right mindset. And you talk about your issues, and I appreciate how honest you've been about that.
Yes.
You talk about things like that, and the mindset that you have, you are already set up for success. And when that time comes, you will crush that like you do everything else. And that's how I know that you are set up for success. Because it comes back to what's up here, and I'm pointing at my head because nobody can see this. It's not a visual element. But when you get the mental part of it right, everything else falls into place. I mean, you got to put in the work, obviously, but for the most part, it pretty much falls into place in terms of how you begin to think and how you process and all that stuff. And I think that that's when you really start to set yourself up for success.
Absolutely. I completely agree. And thank you for that. Because, and I'm just, gonna tell you, like, I have a lot of insight into my weight. I've known for a very long time, like I said, back close to 2012, that I knew that, okay, the cycle that I've got, this vicious cycle that I've gotten myself into is not healthy. I can't just settle for, I'm just going to be fat,
Yeah.
No, I don't have to be fat. And I want to live a long, healthy, happy life. I want to live to 100.
Of course.
And unfortunately, if I continue down this road, I'm not going to be anywhere close to that. I'm just being realistic.
Yeah.
And so I am in a phase right now, I guess, on my own journey.
Yeah.
Pretty much ever since that concert, that was like a nice kick in the butt, I would
Really?
say. I think so.
That's interesting
I would
to
say
hear.
so. I would say it was a nice little figurative kick in the butt, like, kind of reminding me, like, dang, I can.
Yeah.
I can, get fit. I can get healthier, and I can see, living to 100 years old,
Yeah.
not because of a health issue, blocking me.
And most importantly, Julie, you can do it on your own terms.
Yeah,
It doesn't have to be somebody else
Exactly.
telling you this and that. That's why I'm not one of these like fitness coaches,
Right.
because I'm not here to tell you how to do anything. I'm here more for the mindset of it.
Yeah.
Like this is my way of how I think about it and how I think people should try to approach it. But for how you get to point A to point B is up to you, because the greatest thing that led
Just
me
do it healthy, please.
Yeah, of course,
Please.
of course. The greatest thing that led me to so many failures over the years was taking so much advice from others. They wanted their way of how to do it, and the reality of that situation is when you try to do somebody else's way and you stumble and you fall, which is pretty much inevitable almost every time, you see failure in yourself, which gives you a worse mental outlook of yourself, which slows you back down, brings you, as I like to say, back down to zero, because you've had that failure, and you're like, well, I'm just a worthless piece of crap. I'm just gonna just stay right here where I'm at.
Yeah.
And this is what happens so many times. People say, yeah, why don't you try this? And I think there's a lot of people that are not salesy type people that have. They have good intentions, right? Maybe they've seen some success, and we get this all the time in our lives. People are saying, "Hey, have you ever tried this? I know such and such who lost this and that,"
Been
and
there,
they
done that.
mean well. But the way they come across is it's like very pushy, like, I really want you to give this a try. And it's like, well, that may not work for me. And I wish that, people would respect others more. I always like to listen to people's advice, and I try to just, figure out, put on the BS filter, what's good advice, what's bad advice, do my own research, and then formulate my own plan from there.
Exactly.
And it's up to me to make sure that it works, right? So I've had people tell me, sorry, man, hard work doesn't always win. Well, that's because you're not working hard enough. I really feel. And that's just the reality. You will succeed on your own terms as long as you stick to what is true to you. When you stay true to you, when you bet on yourself, that's when you're going to win.
Absolutely. And kind of piggybacking off of that, because once again, let me say, I'm not a nutritionist or a dietitian or anything like that. So please, I am not trying to be an expert on anything, but with some of my clients, especially the ones that deal with weight issues, and they're trying to mentally kind of overcome, working with weight. Sometimes I'll make a treatment goal, like in the treatment plan, just like just encouragement with the weight loss journey, just keeping track of making better lifestyle choices. Yeah. So, that can mean so this week, just try a new vegetable, try a new fruit instead of like a candy bar. Try a cup of grapes. Just try it. Just try it.
See what you like.
Yeah. And
what you don't like.
Exactly. And then I want you to take at least one flight of stairs. One flight of stairs, because honestly, that might be a huge obstacle for somebody, because we have
here.
Oh my gosh, I have elevators at the office I work at, and so trust me, I just this past week I have no problem just going, nope, not doing it today, getting in the elevator and literally going up to one floor. I'm gonna be honest, I'm that lazy, and so just being able to go, just do one flight of stairs, just go up.
Sure.
Just go up, walk.
Yeah.
Especially
literally and figuratively, go up.
Yes. And so, and depending on, how big you might be, that can be so huge. Like I said, being 5'5" and at 265, I am huffing and puffing and I just want to roll over and die after going literally up one flight of stairs. And so that is a goal. So sorry, I'm digressing. I'm getting a little tongue-tied. So
you know what? Let me just tell you, a podcast, the whole thing is to talk, so this is perfect. So keep on. We're doing
awesome.
Good. You're doing just fine.
So that being said, setting small goals.
Sure.
I get, personal trainers and fitness workers. Man, I love what you do. Thank you for being an inspiration. But sometimes that's not where people are at yet.
Sure. Yeah.
So maybe
just go outside and walk. Just something.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Just use your legs.
Something simple.
Yeah. So
going up one flight for me real quick, I'll just throw this in, used to be the most difficult thing. When I was nearly 400 pounds, going up one flight, I sounded like I was on the verge of dying. And last fall, I reached a new milestone with the stair stepper at the gym. My personal record, 337 floors in an hour and a half. Which was, I never thought I'd do 10 floors, to be honest with you. I went out to Vegas last summer for my birthday with the wife, and when I was leaving the hotel, I would go up and down the stairs instead of taking the elevator. That's like 20, 30 floors, and I just up and down, not even thinking about it. And it's just when you try these things, like you said, you just take the small thing and just go with it. The other thing when it comes to like diets and stuff, and I don't offer a lot of that advice because again, I'm not a nutritionist either, but one of the things that I have suggested to people, because I actually I'm a very picky eater. This is just my nature, extremely picky. And so another reason why I would fail so often was I wouldn't eat a certain number of things, and people would say, well, because I want to lose weight, because I want to start a diet, maybe we're going to get rid of that word now, but it was always, you have to get rid of this, and this, and you have to eat only these things. Well, here's what I found out losing 100 pounds. In fact, I just took the portions and I changed them up a little bit. So I actually never got rid of anything in particular other than, well, there are 5 things. I'll run them down here in a moment, but I found substitutes of things that I liked. So like instead of red meat burgers, turkey burgers, for example, instead of 2 burgers, 1 burger, still had the bun with the mayonnaise and the cheese and all that stuff. And it was an easy transition because actually burgers are one of my biggest problems.
Okay.
So I drive about, and most people of podcasts go right over the head, but you live local, so I'll just throw this by you. So, where I live all the way out to Dulles, that area, that's where I work. And I go round trip, and it's about 75 miles total. So on the way home, I would stop at McDonald's every single day, Monday through Friday, and get 2 or 3 McDoubles with Big Mac sauce. I'd take away the ketchup and the mustard, add Big Mac sauce. I would get a 4-piece nugget and a medium chocolate shake every single day.
Yep.
Once in a while, it would slightly alternate. Maybe I was going to Taco Bell, or in the morning I might go to Taco Bell for breakfast or go to Wawa or one of these things. But this was every single day, Monday through Friday, stopping every single morning because I had to have this, or, oh, I was sick this day, so, I got to have 2 or 3 sandwiches to make me feel better, right? And so when I started, and we're in December now, so probably in like 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be my 2-year anniversary of no soda, no McDonald's, no Taco Bell, no Wendy's, no Burger King.
Dang.
Everything else is fair game because I didn't have an addiction problem to these other places. I just banned these 5 things, or 4 places, 1 thing, because these were the problem area for me. And ever since I've stayed away from these places, I feel like I've been better off. I could still go to like a Shake Shack or somebody like that because it's the lesser of 2 evils. And I don't go there every day, by the way, because good God, they're very expensive.
Yeah.
If I ate there every day, it would be like a month's worth of McDonald's probably. I would feel like price-wise. But I would go to these places and instead of Taco Bell, Chipotle or El Paso, amazing place. And, I just found out that finding substitutes for things was a game changer for me. Not banning this or banning that other than certain places, but certain types of food, not banning them, just finding different alternatives.
Right.
You talk about pizza. So what if, instead of the large regular pizza, maybe it's a flatbread pizza,
Yes.
or something like that. It's just smaller baby steps to get to where you want to be. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yep. You got to meet yourself where you're at now.
Yeah.
If you are 300, 400 pounds, you really have no kind of history with any kind of exercise regimen or nutritional lifestyle changes.
Yeah.
Expecting yourself to wake up the next morning and be like, okay, I'm going to be a vegetarian. I'm only going to eat such and such portions a day. I'm going to do like 2 hours of working out every day. Oh my gosh, not realistic. That's not realistic for someone who's never done anything and they have a weight problem that bad. Something, in my personal opinion, like if someone was just needing to kind of set up some lifestyle goals, like it would be, okay, I want you to just explore some more healthy choices. So like, how comfortable are you with like vegetables and not, coating them in grease and fat?
Yeah.
Have you tried raw vegetables? They can make great snacks.
Sure.
Explore fruits. You'll be surprised about how delicious fruits can be,
Definitely.
Yeah. And so just experimenting with different foods, and you get to eat. You get to eat.
Absolutely.
Like you still get to eat.
It's just different. It's just different things.
And you can still have if you want like a sandwich or cider fries or something. Okay, I mean, yeah, baby steps.
Sure.
But try like. I know a lot of times, especially like McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King now, you can like substitute out like instead of like getting like, a large onion rings or something like that. Like just try, just for a day. Just try like the cup of fruit that they offer.
Yeah, they do
like
have
that,
it.
apple slices, whatever. those little things is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, the small steps
Yeah.
lead up to big changes, and down the line you're setting
Absolutely.
yourself up to make bigger changes. But it all starts with small steps. Nothing is overnight.
Be realistic. Like, you went on a 5-minute walk. Like, you walked around, like, down to the near cul-de-sac in your neighborhood and
Yeah.
just took a stroll. Or I don't even care if it's walking to the mailbox.
Yeah.
Like, you did that all by yourself.
Or maybe you like to go out and drive, so maybe when you go to the mall, you park in the back of the parking lot.
Exactly.
Just
Walk
little
a few,
things.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I've been doing ever since, you gave me that good little kick in the butt, like kind of jump starting me again. I have, been more mindful about, like, okay, walk. Use
Yeah.
your legs. They're perfectly good legs.
Yeah.
Yes, they are a little heavy right now, but they still work
Yeah.
just fine.
Well, because by the way, we're not rushing to anything, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no.
It's a
I
journey.
famously say on the pod, and I say famously because people, they hit me up in my DMs like, oh, I love when you say this, so here it comes. It's not a class assignment due in 2 weeks. It's your life, man. It's your
Yes.
life. What the hell are you in a hurry for?
Yes.
I mean, maybe if you're 50 or 60, you feel like there's a sense
might
of
need to
there's
rush
more,
a little bit.
There's more of a sense of
just
urgency,
kidding.
and don't rush. By the way,
I'm
take
just
your
kidding.
time.
I'm just kidding. That was a
Yeah,
total
yeah.
joke. Total joke.
But I mean, there's no rush. Just take your
Yeah,
time and
absolutely.
enjoy the process. You got to learn to enjoy and trust the process.
Absolutely. Take it day by day. Enjoy the accomplishments of that day.
Yeah, I can't
You-
imagine not going to the gym now because there are some days where I sit in the parking lot and I'm tired and I don't want to go, but I still show up. And then when I'm there, I'm like, yeah, I really couldn't imagine not coming today.
Absolutely. And you'll be so surprised, and this is something that falls into a type of therapy called cognitive behavioral therapy, also
Okay.
known as CBT. So the whole premise, and licensed clinicians, please correct me if I'm wrong. I'm always willing to learn if I've made a mistake. The whole process of CBT is basically rewiring your brain. So
Oh,
any
yeah.
kind of negative thoughts or even negative behaviors that someone is conditioned to. So like self-loathing, low self-esteem, maybe bad eating, just any kind of not so healthy thing that
Yeah.
someone is going through. The process of going through cognitive behavioral therapy, the licensed clinician, therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, what they do is they just help kind of change those habits,
Yeah.
helping you find the alternative positive to it. And so you'll be surprised by how quickly and effectively you can rewire your brain and your thought processes and even just your daily activities to where it becomes normal. So if exercising, today is not a normal thing for you, that could be totally different in a year.
Yeah.
Just like what you said, you can't imagine not going to the gym now. Like, it's part of your way now. It's been rewired in your brain. And so I say that because once again, it falls into there is hope.
Yes.
Like, you can learn new tricks. You
Yeah.
can change your lifestyle and your mental status completely. It is absolutely possible for you to be one of those, like, man, I love going to the gym. Like, I'm one of those right now where I'm like, anytime I see a gym, I'm like, I just can't. Like, it's exhausting just looking at
I hear ya.
a gym. And also I still have, it causes me a little anxiety because I know I tell myself I should be there.
Yeah.
And then I'm not. And so it gets me into this whole whirlwind of self-loathing.
You are not the only one, believe me.
Right.
I get people that DM me all the time, and they're like, "How do I get over this? This maybe not fear is maybe not the right word, but this hesitation to go to the gym." And I said, "You know what? You don't even have to go.
Yeah.
You can do so many things without going there, and then if you want to work it in eventually." But I think there's a lot of people maybe they worry about what other people will think,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, it don't matter.
Yeah.
It's and I get it. It's easy to kind of say that, but it really doesn't. And anybody that will actually go to the gym and judge somebody for bettering themselves, their shit is broken, and that's the fact.
Yeah.
And so, I can understand the hesitation. There was times where I didn't want to go for a while, you know, and finally just, you know, you got to take the time, you know, take that time, and eventually it may pop in your head, okay, I think I'm comfortable going now. It all boils down to going to the right place. Maybe you drive by and you just kind of look in and eye the crowd. Maybe you drive in front. And this is what I would do, almost like I'm casing the place, like I'm a detective or something. Like, go around the time that I think I would go and just peek in there and see, you know, who's in there and what, you know, what does it look like? What's the situation? Know what you're getting into before you get into it.
Absolutely. And you have the right to do that.
Yeah.
So I just want to tell anybody, if you feel like you're at that point in your journey where I wouldn't mind like stopping by a gym and just taking a tour, just asking some questions, you know, just, I don't want to touch any of the machinery.
Sure.
But I just want to look.
Take a tour. Yeah.
Yeah, take a tour. You have the right to do that, and you have the right to do that without someone bombarding you, like, sign up now.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Like, because I've been down that road where I'm like, you know what? I'm really kind of intrigued by this place. It looks really nice. I've heard some really good reviews. I want to go in and check it out. And then when I get in there, like, it's almost like buying a car, like buying a car at a sales lot. You know,
by the way, I am not in any way affiliated, sponsored by, paid by Planet Fitness, but this is the place where I've really gravitated to. I've been to the Gold's gyms and the World gyms and the Lifetime Fitness and the Anytime. I've been to all these places, and I've never been more welcome than I ever have than going into Planet Fitness. They know me by name. They call me, and I'm sure they tell us to everybody, it's not just me, but they say, you know, you're one of our VIP members, where they check me in. They see me walk in from my car, and they've already checked me in on the computer.
That's awesome.
And they're like, no, we don't need your card. Just come on in.
That's awesome.
And they welcome me, and I don't know that every location is like this, but I found, you know, home at the location up the road, and they're just so damn cool. I love those guys, and I don't know if any of them ever listen to this podcast, but I want to shout them out because Planet Fitness Mount Vernon, you guys are phenomenal.
Kudos to you guys. Now I am, you know, encouraged now to go check it out. Maybe that would be a future home for me too in my fit journey.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Great gang over there. Really,
Yeah.
really nice, really welcoming. And it's probably not good on them from a business sense, but sometimes I go in there, there's not as many people in there. And sometimes it feels like I'm just working out at my own gym, which I kind of like.
But, you know, sometimes that's just the best. You
Yeah.
know, I'm one of those where I remember when I did go to the gym a lot, when I was just way overdoing it. Especially like in high school and college, you know, when I could drive and I had some independence. A lot of gyms, you know, start up anywhere from like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are like some 24-hour gyms too.
Yeah, this one's 24.
Yeah. See, bam. Awesome. Like, one of my things is I want to go like around 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Sure.
When it's nice and quiet. I have access to whatever I need. Like, that's probably where I would find my zen.
I think that's
like
probably
some
a
quiet
ghost town
time.
around that time. I think I've driven by there.
Awesome.
Yeah, because I normally I've always struggled because I feel like, you know, I'm pretty good in the mornings, and I'm like, okay, if I didn't have a day job where I had to be up at 4 o'clock in the morning, I would probably go and work out first thing in the morning. So that's kind of out of the window because I got to be up at 4:30 and I got to be at work by 6:30, and it takes me an hour to get there, right? So I have to go after work, and so when I do go, it's probably around like 4:35, and you know, this is the time. And even then, I mean, there's people in there, but it's not too bad. But there's been times where I've gone to, you know, pick up dinner at one of these places off the road and drive by there, and around that time, I don't think you'd have any problem personally.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Man, okay.
It's a good deal.
I'm going to have to check it out. Not saying none of the other gyms and organizations are not good.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's one for everybody. Whereas Planet Fitness is your bag of potato chips.
Let me know. I'll introduce you to some of my friends up there. The good people.
You know, Gold's Gym might be it for somebody else, and that is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Like, that's why it's so important to go tour, go check it out, go talk.
Yeah.
Make sure you feel comfortable there. It's like, you know, you're not just gonna like immediately buy a car as soon as you see it. Like, that's my car.
Yeah.
You don't want to test drive it.
Kick the tires. Walk around.
Yeah. Talk to some people. Like,
Certainly. Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. Take a look under the hood. Like, so you you need to treat, any kind of fitness organization or location the same way.
Definitely.
Yeah. So don't feel silly or stupid or anything like that, or embarrassed. Like, oh, well, I'm just coming in and maybe I'm really, really big. And sorry if you hear that. That is literally my phone going off.
Nothing. We haven't picked up a thing. You'll probably hear this background music, which is cool.
You guys liking the holiday music?
There you go.
So regardless, of how often you've ever stepped into a gym or what your size is, like, don't feel stupid for going in there and just be like, I'm interested in making this part of my life.
Definitely.
And don't ever let anybody tell you that it's ridiculous or you do not fit in.
Yeah.
Trust me.
You just show up and do you all day, every day. You know what I mean? Would you believe, by the way, I'm looking down at the recorder, would you believe we've gone an hour already? Is that a surprise?
Oh my gosh.
Can you believe that?
That's awesome though. So I'm sure you guys already know this is my first podcast.
It's the first for
me.
many people, for you, when they come on and they don't believe it. I'm like, yeah, we've done an hour. What?
I know. And I remember just a few days ago, because we had to reschedule. Originally this was going to be on Thursday, and just due to work, I had to, reschedule for tonight. And I was like, do I need to bring statistics on anything, or do I need to bring like definitions or like any kind of material?
Oh, no.
And so I thought I had to basically.
Is this anything like you imagined?
It's better.
It's better. Okay,
it's so
good.
much
That's
better.
good to hear.
Like this, first of all, I love Starbucks.
Yeah. Shout out to Starbucks. They're good people.
Shout out to Starbucks. Really, anybody that makes coffee, shout out to coffee. Just shout out to coffee. But I just love the zen of coffee shops.
Yeah.
Where some people find that in like a library, I find it in a coffee shop.
Sure.
So being here in a place that makes me comfortable.
It's like home when you have your coffee, right?
I didn't have to I didn't have to travel far. Like that's convenient.
Very convenient.
Right down the road. And I don't have to like be all dressed up, anything like that.
Nah, we're just laid back, very casual.
This is awesome. Like literally, people are just kind of chilling, doing their thing.
They're working.
Yeah, and this is awesome. So no, I'm really enjoying this. So, and it's such a small little contraption, that you have doing your podcast.
Sorry, it's probably about the length of a phone.
Yeah.
Is this a plus, right?
Yeah, it's an 8 Plus iPhone. Oh yeah, iPhone 8 Plus. So, no, it's awesome. So, I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, he's gonna have to set up this huge contraption on on the table. It's gonna be so, obvious. No, this is great. Like, I love it. I would do this anytime. I'm literally like leaning against the wall right now, like sitting in my chair. We're sitting in like a stool, and I'm just chilling.
Super cool.
Yeah, I'm totally.
Somebody
totally
had the couch earlier, otherwise we would have taken that. But
oh man, I'm good. I'm good. I can keep going.
One of the things I'll circle back to before we come to the close, I meant to ask you this earlier, but how did you get into the field of working mental health? Mm-hmm. What kind of led you to that path? What made that your passion and something you wanted to do?
So that came when I was probably a freshman in high school. So that was prime territory for me being really low on myself, being at a really great weight, but thinking that I wasn't. Oh my gosh, sorry. People are just blowing up my phone left.
You're very
and right,
popular.
Apparently. So if you hear The Office's Bears beats Battlestar Galactica going off, that is actually my text alerts. So yeah. So probably around 9th grade, so freshman in high school, I was still recovering from the death of my mother. My mother died from multiple myeloma. It's a type of leukemia.
I'm very sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And she unfortunately struggled with very similar weight issues to myself. Mm-hmm. And I saw the depression and the anxiety and the self-loathing and just the overall low self-esteem that she went through, and I could tell that she didn't feel beautiful anymore. She didn't feel worthy of wearing, flattering clothing, as we would probably call it. She felt like she had to wear like a lot of black, a lot of baggy clothes, and just
I've been there.
Yeah. And I'm there now. And so like
Yeah.
I'm literally walking in her footsteps and I'm feeling what she's feeling. So a lot of empathy for my late mother. So I had all of that in my mind. I was like, this is not okay. And I understood that something was not right with me. Like I struggled with a lot of anxiety stemming from weight, but other things as well. And I was just like, I cannot stand feeling this way every day, feeling this way. This sucks. This is no way to live. And so I was like, there has to be some way to change it. So actually at my school, they, as like one of the, I know up here you guys call them like encores, like they're like elective classes. So down in North Carolina where I'm from, they were called electives. And so I took like, they had like psychology, general psychology. And so I took it and I knew it had something to do with like the mind. But that's where I learned about, abnormal psychology and depression, anxiety, and all these things and how everything is connected through the brain. And I was just overall fascinated, and I learned about psychologists and psychiatrists and therapists and just being a mental health professional. And I was like, that's what I have to do. I have to help people going through the same thing. I need to study the crap out of this. I need to become the best I can at it, and I need to help change lives. I need to save lives.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and so I'm a big advocate that mental health is a medical field. I am in no way a surgeon, a doctor. I can't prescribe medication, nothing like that. But I am a healthcare provider, or I'm becoming a licensed healthcare provider.
Yeah.
Where within the realm of mental health, I can treat you.
Right.
And so I knew in that aspect I wanted to help save lives. I wanted to help be the person that showed people like the light bulb and say, you don't have to live this way anymore. Like you have crippling anxiety, depression, whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, there is hope. There is hope. And so I went to the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. Hello to my fellow UNCG people, if anybody is listening. And I graduated in 2010 with my bachelor's degree in psychology, and then took some time off trying to figure out exactly what I wanted to do as far as like mental health, like if I wanted to go to med school, to go into psychiatry, if I wanted to go for clinical psychology, a lot of different options. And the best thing that I found was Liberty University here in Lynchburg, Virginia. They have a wonderful master's program for professional counseling. And so what I am currently doing is I am seeking licensure. Probably within this year, I'll be eligible to be licensed as a licensed professional counselor, also known as an LPC. And that is just one of the many licenses you can get for being a mental health therapist. There's so many different titles. We might vary a little bit on what we specialize in, but overall, we are mental health professionals.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is how I got into it.
That is so awesome.
Thank you.
It's like you see, and this is, when it comes, whether you're, wanting to, people that are in business, they want to be successful, whether it be business or just being good people. It's finding a solution to a problem and solving a problem, or doing your damn best to solve a problem. And that's really where the best, comes out of you, is when you're trying to do as best as you can for others. And I think that that's amazing. Like I kid you not when I say I am so glad that I think we're like 2 weeks ago now, that we got a chance to meet. And I was like, I feel like I have a new friend now. Like, this is awesome.
Yes.
This is so cool. Just meeting other people, like-minded people that want to help others. I think that's amazing, because when I started this journey, it was it started to be like an accountability thing for me as I was kind of finding my footing and really getting started. But as I started to see people jumping on board and kind of, to use the term following, I don't like followers and fans. I don't like those F words. I like friends. That's the word I like.
Yes.
It's my favorite F word, is friends. And that is, once I started to see people checking out what I was putting out there, it was like, okay, now how much good can I do? How much help can I provide? And that, to me, it's like why I would sit here on a Sunday night when I could just as easily be laying on my ass and watching Netflix. Why I'm sitting here on a podcast with you in a Starbucks.
We could be changing a life right now.
Exactly. And that to me is more important than anything. Is just helping people as much as I can, doing the best that I can to better myself, and then also using what I learn that I find to be helpful and turn that into helping with others.
Absolutely. And I just want to put out there, thank you for being, a beacon of light and just, a vibe of positivity in this very dark and chaotic world, especially revolving around body shaming and weight loss and just, low self-esteem and just being an inspiration. Thank you. I've been able to follow your pages because I follow both the store and your personal one, and it's just amazing. And I see the people like on your story that comment to you and you've changed their lives, and I just think that's so awesome. So I really enjoy following you and becoming a friend to you, and
Definitely.
I'm very thankful for our
Unexpected meeting.
Yes,
It's crazy how that works.
I believe everything is meant to happen for a reason, and
I
so
feel the same way.
I believe that it was part of our paths to meet and to.
We're both out there trying to
Yes.
help people.
Yes.
So like-minded people come together, and we can help change the world.
Yes, I
one
love
day
it.
at a time, one person
I love
at a
it,
time.
and so I'm so thankful, and thank you for having me on the podcast. And this has just been awesome. So I'm really giddy right now, if you can't tell. But yeah,
It's
so
it's
this
not a
is
visual
awesome.
element, but one of the things I like in the podcast when I interview face to face is we got to do a fist bump because
Yes,
this is just.
there's the fist bump.
But
yes,
that to me is just the ultimate way to put a bow on just what's been an amazing podcast. Julie, you're awesome. Tell people your Instagram one more time because I want people to come and seek you out. If
Heck
they want
yeah.
to check out your page.
Yeah, and I don't post anything, like miraculous. I do post a lot of really good mental health stuff. So if you are someone you are just needing kind of like a pick-me-up,
Yes.
I do post a lot of stuff, some really good facts and things on mental illness and how to get help. But then I also post some really funny stuff of my pets. So it's like a lot of pets. Anyways, it is Julie, Julie, Robyn, ROBYNJ, all one word. There's no like, what's that thing called? The lower bar for spacing.
The underscore.
Underscore. There we go.
I'm glad that you don't use that. A lot of people use that. It throws me off.
I do not use that. It is all one word. Julie
Make it
Robyn
easy.
J. My picture once again is an animated or animated avatar of me as a pop vinyl figurine,
Yeah.
and I have like my little pets around me. So you'll totally know what I'm talking about when you see it. Feel free to follow me, comment. Let me know if there's anything awesome you want me to post. And I just want to say,
Tell her how awesome she was on this podcast because she was amazing.
I'm so awesome, right? Yeah, please. But I just want to put out there just really quick. So any of you that are in that place right now, even if it's not necessarily weight related, if you are just not in a good place mentally, where maybe you are struggling with depression, anxiety, anything else like mental health wise, maybe you find yourself really conflicted on whether or not you still want to be around, or wanting to hurt yourself, and that also falls into anorexia and bulimia, binging and purging.
Yep.
If you find yourself in any kind of mental health state like that, please know that there is hope. Please know that you can get better. Please seek out local therapists. So anyone like a licensed professional counselor, licensed marriage family therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, go get help, please. You are meant to be here. You are not meant to leave.
Yes.
Be here. And
Please stay here.
yes, stay here as long as you can and be another beacon of light. And
As I like to say, fight like hell for the life you want, because you
Yeah.
are worth the fight.
You are so worth it. So if you are struggling with anything mental health wise, especially, I cannot tell you, it'd have to be another podcast for self-harm and suicide. If you are there just because you feel unworthy, please, for the love of God, please go get help. Please,
Yes.
we need you here. Please, please, please. Thank you.
Definitely. And maybe that's something we should circle back to in a future podcast
Yes.
if you're down for that.
Yes. And there is a correlation between weight problems and suicide, unfortunately. So
1,000%.
yeah, so that is, I would love to come again and talk about that, and I will have statistics so I seem more official. But yes, I would love to come back.
Julie, you're amazing. Thank you so much
You
for
are
coming on the
amazing.
podcast.
Thank you, Gary.
I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Let me tell you guys about hardworkalwayswins.com. It's not just a clothing line, it's my mantra. I speak it, I wear it, I live it, and I want you guys to rep it today. Join the squad. We got t-shirts, we got beanies, we got hats, we got tank tops, hoodies, phone cases, you name it, we got it. Just in the store as of this week. I am worth the fight. Are you worth the fight? Damn right you're worth the fight. So get the shirt and show everybody what's up. We got Fight Like Hell for the Life You Want. We got the 4 pillars. We got the original OG Hard Work Always Wins shirt in many different designs. All you got to do is head over to hardworkalwayswins.com, enter the code SQUAD at checkout, and I'm going to take 10% off your very first order. That's right. I'm doing that. I went there. So go to the store, check it out, find what you want, add that code SQUAD at checkout, and join the Hard Work Squad today.